person, they're like, oh, they think of boot camp, they think you're waking up at 4 a.m. and like you're like in the water, like probably like, I don't know, doing some exercise and things like that. So is it as bad as people think it is? Or
I mean, I would not. It's one of those things I would say I'm so glad I did it, but I wouldn't do it again. And I mean that in a good way. I joining the armed military, once I did that and got on, you enter into once you arrive at the reception station, you see guys from all over the United States, every middle America, small town America, Philadelphia. And everybody's coming from their own hoods, and they have all reasons they're joining. And it was in 1982.
Wow.
So when I went to basic, I remember we thought first 2 weeks at South Carolina, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, was a reception, so they couldn't do anything really to us except have us get in like front-leaning rest position. We got our uniforms, shaved our heads, got everything, kind of got to know everybody. Then we got on the bus.
Well, why do they shave you? Why do they shave everybody? Is that like
I think they want unity and uniformity, and they don't want individuality at that time. Okay. They want us because they're teaching us how to be Army.
Yeah.
So, but once we got on that bus, after 2 weeks, we got on the bus, we're all talking. Yeah. You get to know each other, and this drill sergeant gets up that we haven't seen with a Smokey Bear hat, one of those brown ones. Yeah. And he just stared at us. And we were all talking, and he just didn't say anything. He just kept staring at us.
Yeah.
And then everybody started quieting up, and he just looked, and his silent, piercing stare quieted everybody down. Then he said, "Gentlemen, I want you to think of where we're leaving right now as heaven. And now we're going to hell."
Wow.
And that's exactly what he said. I'll never forget that. And then everybody's quiet, and he goes, "I don't want to hear any more talking the rest of the time." So everybody's just freaking out, going, "What are we?" I'm thinking, did I make a mistake? And we're driving, and everybody, after 20 minutes, people start whispering, and it gets a little louder, and everybody's talking normal again. And then he screams out, "That's right. Just keep talking. Just keep on talking." Wow. And when we arrived in the middle of the woods in Fort Benning, Georgia, they got on. He goes, "You got 30 seconds to get off this bus. 29 are gone. Move. Don't worry about your duffel bags." And then from then on, they abused us.
Really?
Yeah. And then we'd be, and back then we were in World War II barracks. So we have to go to the bathroom. They had all the open toilets. You had to go to the bathroom in front of people. I'm like, what is this, prison? And we were there, and we were like, just got in. We're so tired. They just worked us, screamed at us. And we're in there. It's like 2 a.m. We're trying to just wash our faces and brush our teeth just the best we can.
2 a.m?
Yeah, just the first night. And they come in, and they start screaming, "Who said you could use the bathroom?" They said, "Get down." They'd come in the middle of the night, tell us to get out in our underwear. We have to crawl into the barracks and the spider webs and everything.
Wow.
They'd tell you, they'd not let you wear jackets because they'd want you to freeze and tell you to stand outside because they're trying to break you. Yeah. But I remember the breaking point for me was we were in after chow at still dark in the morning. Yeah. It was in Georgia, and it was February. It was freezing.
Yeah.
And they decide either everybody wears their jacket or not. So they said no jackets. That's just everybody's going. They're making you go, "What's going on?" We're all sitting there, and I'm going, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I can remember this time. This was a defining moment. I called it my times that changed my life course defining moments.
Yeah. The New Age people, they call them canon events.
Okay. Well, I'm looking to the left and right of me, and I'm seeing African American, Hispanic, Asian, white, all different men from everywhere. And I'm looking, and I'm thinking of my way out. What am I going to tell them? How am I going to get out? And then I'm thinking I should be back in Phoenix. I can go to my dad's country club and jump off the high dive, eat cheeseburgers, and sign my name on his bill. And then, I'm just thinking my life over there. And then I just went and looked at him, and I go, what am I going to tell my dad and my mom and my friends that gave me a see-off party? And I just saw me getting back home and telling everybody it didn't work out. And I go,
Okay.
And pride sealed me. I said, if they can do it, I'm going to do it. And that moment on, I said, it's a game, and they won't break me. And they tried. They broke out of 250 people, 50 were kicked out. They didn't get. Wow. It makes you a better man because they can't beat you, but they act like they can. Yeah. But they can run you to death and do things, and then they can hit you if they're off record. I mean, they do that. So
So you feel like? Do you think that the conditions? Would you say the conditions were inhumane at times? Do you feel like they abused their authority at times?
No, I think what they're preparing us for. I was 11 Bravo infantry. They're teaching us and preparing us if we have to fight and kill. We're going to have to fight to defend the nation and each other. So how do you prepare? It's got to be chaos. They actually would throw chaos. They would abuse you. They would tear your room up and say, clean it up again. Yeah, they want you to scream and go, no fair, and freak out. Yeah. They want you to be able to handle abuse and suck it up. Yeah. That's what I learned in life. Is sometimes it's like, if that's what it is, that's what it is, and you're going to go through it and deal. And I just learned kind of that attitude to just suck it up.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like the Army's not built for everybody in my mind, but I feel like it takes a certain person to be able to go to the Army or the Marines or anything to get out and still like thrive. Because I feel like sometimes people will get out of like the military and then they're like, they have that trauma. You know, they can't really function in society and things like that. You know, that's to me where it's just like, okay, like, you know, I don't want any of those type of problems, you know. But.
No, yeah, but I didn't have to, thank God I didn't have to go to combat like some did. I mean, real combat. Oh, my gosh. So that is intense. But, yeah, I mean, I just was searching. When I got out of the military, I knew I didn't want to do that for a career. Yeah. So I got out, and then I wanted to be I wanted to go to college after I got out because it made me sobered about like this life's a long life. What am I going to do? Yeah. So I don't think it's the same way now, actually. But back then, I think college, if you know what you're studying, I just thought I'll get a degree, and that's why I graduated in criminal justice, because that's the only thing I was interested in. But I felt like, you know, the 4-year degree will be something to fall back on when I go out and be an actor.
So I guess just to close out on the Army section, like, what do you think is your? I mean, you know, obviously it was pretty tough, but tell us about a good time, you know, you had maybe in the barracks with some of your buddies.
In the military.
The military. Were there any good? Were there any good times?
We were in Italy the whole time. I mean, all my time was. I got in my 11 Bravo after we did some testing. I got transferred into a different MOS, which sent me to Italy, and I was anti-terrorism unit. On a mountain in Italy, protecting nuclear missiles. Yeah. Back then they had the Cold War. We had Nike Herky nuclear missiles that would point and cut off and blow up Russia, USSR. That's right. So it's funny, it was back then. But I used to love Italy. I mean, I would get off, and I almost got married over there. I mean, I had my longest relationship before my wife. I'm married 29 years almost. Was with the gal in Italy that I met, and thought I fell in love, but she didn't speak English. I spoke Italian, and so that was a great time in the military. But with the guys, I didn't really get along with a lot of the guys outside. I got along with them, but I didn't want to hang with them. It seemed like and I'm not being racial here, but the white guys that were there were like, when they got off and they went down the mountain and went into Italy, like the towns. Yeah. They were embarrassing.
Really?
They had drinking problems. They could drink all night and be staggered and be stupid, and then they could still. There's one of those guys that could smoke a pack of cigarettes, drink all night, and be up at 5 a.m. ready to fight in a war. But they were just embarrassing. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying I was Mr. But I'm just like, so they were. I just felt like they were great soldiers, but they were kind of embarrassing, like, you know, the way Europe would say, look at the American soldiers type. Yeah. And I just didn't want to be part of that. So I was friends with them, but I kind of got into the Italian people. Yeah, Italian people more. When I was off.
Yeah. You miss Italian food, like the wines, the pastas, anything like that, or you think American food?
Yeah, I mean, my whole eating now is so different than it was. So, you know, I like it, but I don't really eat pizza or pasta much anymore. You know, I'm eating to win.